Hello and welcome to the Marine Channel, and we're down here at the Palma International Boat Show, and I'm about to show you around a Princess F70. Now, it's not a brand new boat, it's actually a 2019 boat, but I want to show you it because it's the first Princess of this size that came with 4 proper cabins, which is important to a lot of buyers. So just while we're stood here on the dock, let me tell you a little bit about this particular boat. It's got the Williams jet tender, 395 on there. And you can see it's got a high-low bathing platform. It's powered by twin MAN V12 engines producing 1400 horsepower apiece. So this thing will shift mid-30s for a boat this size. Right, so up into the cockpit. Nice big U-shaped cockpit. Nice bit of cover there from the hard top. And then you can see that this area here opens up. The galley is aft on this boat, and if you look up there you can see the glass panel that is on a gas strut, nice and simple, pops up and then opens this area to serve drinks and so forth. Half a step down into the galley here, and then you've got proper domestic sized fridge freezers. You can tell it's a boat show because the fridges are always well stocked, but the freezers quite often have next to nothing in. Bosch ceramic hob, coffee machine, twin sink, and then your dining area opposite. So really nice sort of sociable space here out onto the aft seating area. Moving forward, up half a step, massive glazing on this boat, absolutely huge windows. And this is really where the revolution's come, I think, in the last kind of decade in boats, is the way they've used glazing. And it just makes this interior feel absolutely gorgeous. Plenty of storage around the place. A typical Princess, of course. Very, very good build quality. Up here at the helm, twin seats and big multifunction displays. This one's got side power, bow and stern thrusters. And I know it's got aircon because I can feel it pumping out as well. And then obviously your throttle controls. And usefully, on a boat this size, you've got side access straight out from the helm. If nothing else, you can shout at your crew, get the fenders out, grab that line. But it does mean that you can hop out if you need to. Now this one's got the kind of fly sheets on at the minute, so if it looks a little bit odd on camera, it's because those are in place. But it does really cut down the radiated light and heat, he said, as he missed the step. There you go, I'm not going to edit it out. It was bound to happen eventually. Oh dear, there we go. Do I risk it? Yeah, I do. I'm going to step up here now. Do the same, but now I'm going to remember there's a step down. Okay. So, staircase down here to our master cabin. Thankfully, Princess have illuminated these, so I'm not going to fall down them, he said, confidently. And into our master. So full beam, lovely big sofa on the port side, lots and lots of storage, and a huge TV screen on the wall. Let's have a little look at these bits and pieces. I do like these catches. Illuminated hanging locker there, drawers beneath. I've got to have a look at this. I don't know what's in here, I haven't looked. Aha! Ah! The wine fridge and the washing machine or washer dryer. Very good. You can wash your clothes and have a drink while you're doing it. Over here to the starboard side, again another big hanging locker, and we move into our ensuite, which has got a tiny step up. But I didn't trip over! Hurrah! There we are, big sink there. And then our loo over here. Up a step. But really good light, natural light into the cabin. And typical Princess, all these fixtures and fittings feel fantastic. I mean, it's a 4-year-old boat, so it's been used a little bit, but it's clearly been loved, and it really does feel very, very nice indeed. So nice and private down here in the master. Let's wend our way back up these stairs, which I've got to say are nice and wide. Nice handrails, all trimmed here in sort of leather stitching. Very good. And back up into our nice big saloon. That's when you get a real impression of how big this boat is in terms of living accommodation. And now let's head forward, see what we got down here. So, as I said, the first boat of this size from Princess with 4 proper cabins. And by proper I mean no bunks. So we've got here twin singles, and that is sort of mirrored, the same port and starboard. The only difference with the starboard is there's a door here that gives you access into your own ensuite, and this ensuite then acts as a day heads for everybody else. So back out into our hallway, backing up, backing up, backing up, twin over here, twin over there, day heads here, which doubles up, of course, as I said, as our ensuite for the other twin. Just shut that door and you can get a better impression of space. Okay, so heading forward once more, and this is our VIP double. And that has its own heads as well, good size heads. I always think it's quite clever when they sort of offset the shower room like that, because it gives you a bit more space. There we go. And a massive hanging locker over here, which at the moment is hosting some laundry, I suspect. That gives you an idea of how much you can hang up there, about 30 coat hangers. So you can see why this has been a really popular boat, because the accommodation is superb. You can sleep 8 comfortably on board. You've got this very large saloon, very sociable saloon. Nice kitchen aft. As we say, the owner accommodation, very, very private with its own staircase. So let's just move outside. So I mentioned this boat has 4 cabins. It's actually got 5 cabins because, of course, mustn't forget it's got a crew cabin. So shift this rather satisfyingly chunky door out the way, and we'll just drop down into there because it is a boat show. There is lots of stuff being stored here, but you can see a couple of good single beds there, an ensuite here as well. I'm really impressed with the quality of the sort of fit and finish. It really does look as good as it does in the if you like, the public areas. So there you go, crew accommodation, as they say, sorted. And let's move up the side. Nice big wide decks here. Fill up there for your diesel. And along the side. Sounds like they're fighting for attention, the different bands and musicians. Just have a little look down here. I suspect that this is a good sized locker for fenders and ropes and bits and pieces. Yeah, absolutely. Struggling with that one. I will come back and do that properly in a moment. And then a nice big sunpad area. And you can see now the fly screens. Just see how much they cut out the light. Nobody would see in there. It's like almost like a heavy tint you get on car windows. But inside, still got good visibility out. And of course that's what you need on med boats, because you don't want the sun bleaching all your woodwork and all your upholstery, and also radiated heat. If you've got the air conditioning on, this whole thing has the sun beating on it. It's going to have to work a lot harder to keep the boat cool unless you've got those blinds in place. Bottom of the stairs here, we've got an additional helm control for berthing. So we've got our bow and stern thruster there, throttle control, ideal place to be able to see as we come into dock. Shut that one up a minute, and then we'll go up the stairs to our flybridge. So I've always been impressed by the layout on these, because you've got these different zones. So obviously a helm up here, twin seats, everything we saw down below on the main helm is kind of repeated up here. Big multi-function displays. And then just to starboard, a big sun pad area, or you can remove some cushions and make that just for seating. And then a yacht table that will dine 8, I would say, comfortably. I think that one's on fixed legs, yes it is. Massive piece of engineering, that looks absolutely fantastic. And then a big sun pad back here. And what's nice is this whole area is served, of course, by this wet bar, just at the top of the stairs, which has got a sink. And we'll see what we've got down here. Yeah, big refrigerated drawer, waste paper bin, and another big fridge there. This of course has got a hard top with some nice downlighting in it, and the front panel on this F70 also retracts, so that's all electrically operated, and again really opens this up. But I think you'll agree, a really well thought out, really well resolved boat, and for a 4-year-old boat in actually remarkably good condition. Now, what would a boat like this cost you to buy? Well, if you went out into the open market with a checkbook, 2.3, 2.4 million as a used boat, maybe. But how does the prospect of using a boat like this every year for 330 grand strike you? Possible? Maybe. Well, I'm going to meet Josh from Princess, who's going to tell us how you could get into this boat for £330,000. Let's find out what he says. Well, first of all, Josh, thanks very much indeed for letting us look around the F70. It's a fantastic boat. Now, if I went out with a checkbook to buy this boat in the open market at the moment, it would cost me 2.3, 2.5, depends on spec, I guess. But there is a way of getting usage of this boat for a lot less than that, £330,000, I understand. So just explain to me how this works.
Yeah, there is indeed. So what we try and do is make access to yachts of this size as simple as possible. A lot of people, I think, who enter our program can afford to own them outright, but it's just about time. So what we do is basically set up a Guernsey-based company, which allows owners to purchase shares in this yacht. Right. And we, as Princess Motor Yacht Sales, become your yacht manager to run the program and ensure everything goes smoothly, whilst you and your family just enjoy your time on board. So
that 330,000, which to be honest, if I went out and bought a new boat, would get me a relatively modest day boat in today's market. Yeah. That gives me how much usage?
So each year you'll be able to use 5 weeks on board. 4 of those are cruising weeks, and we split that up over the year, so you get a fair share in the most kind of sought after times, and one of those weeks is then hotel use. So you can come on board in Palma and, you know...
So it's moored effectively?
Yes, exactly that, right. Yeah. So just gives you a chance to use it as a floating hotel and maximise your value.
And I'm guessing there's a lot of people like me hearing this and thinking, I would dream of getting 5 weeks on my boat every year. So 5 weeks sounds kind of like plenty, actually. That 330,000, are there any other costs involved?
Yeah, so obviously with a boat there's ongoing costs. With this one, for example, there's 2 full-time crew, there's mooring costs, insurance, maintenance, everything is covered in a yearly payment of £56,000 per owner. And then the only costs to consider on top of that are your fuel, food, drink, your consumables, things like that.
Okay. But again, once again, if I own this boat and I moored it somewhere, I've got mooring fees depending where I am in the world of 30,000 a year plus
And the
maintenance.
rest.
Yeah, absolutely.
The quote we've just had from Portals would be closer to 80, 90,000 a year to
Wow.
moor this vessel.
Okay.
You can do it for cheaper, but that's one of the most sought after marinas, and that's
Right. And this boat will be based here
in Palma.
in
Yeah.
Palma.
So we're
Okay.
looking, we're aiming to get into Portals, and if not, Mulvey is where we're looking.
Okay, so this actual boat we're sat on, this is the one that's
Yeah.
going to be available at 330. But you've got other boats. You've got quite a lot of experience with this, right?
Yeah, so this is the third boat that will enter the program. We've got a Princess 64 and a 68 with 16 very happy owners across the two of them. And we're launching this F70 and a brand new Princess F55 into the fleet for 2024. So,
Brilliant.
yeah.
So that 330 that I give you, I don't. We actually end up owning the boat, right? Kind of a collective of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
What happens at the end of the ownership period? I mean, do I lose that money? What?
Definitely not. So
Okay.
because it's ownership, it's your asset
Yeah.
as 8 owners. So we run the program for 4 years, and at the end of that, we will put the boat up for sale and market it, and you get your percentage back. So if you're a 1/8 owner, it'll be 1/8 of that. If you wanted more time and you've bought more shares, it'd be a quarter or more. So
Okay.
it's physical ownership.
So again, in terms of depreciation, I mean, boat prices have been kind of strange the last few years.
they have.
We've seen a lot go up in value, but I'm only taking 1/8 of the depreciation effectively.
Yeah, and that's why we like to do it with slightly used boats. This is 2019, although you wouldn't tell looking on board
No,
it.
no.
And that means it's taken its first kind of biggest hit of depreciation. But we would say as a worst case to expect 50% over the course of those 4 years.
Right, right.
We'll aim to be above that.
It's whatever the market, I guess, will support at that moment in time. But like you say, this is a 4-year-old boat. Looks incredible, although it's been used, but it's obviously been well loved. If things go wrong with the boat in that period of time, I know we've got that kind of maintenance thing, but is there any kind of warranty guarantee on the boat?
Yeah, there is. So this is a Princess Motor Yacht Sales product, and because it's a Princess product, we're able to put a approved guarantee on the boat for the full 4 years. So that covers the vessel for any unforeseen mechanical or electrical issues up to £75,000 a year.
Right.
So it minimises the kind of unforeseen costs to owners. It's a nice and easy thing to budget for.
And final question, what kind of people are kind of buying into this? Is it people that have never boated before and want to dip their toe? Is it people that have had boats and gone, oh my goodness, that cost me so much? What's the profile?
It's a big mix. It's really quite nice. We've got some very experienced Princess owners who've just said, I'd like to get rid of the responsibility, but I don't want to lose boating. So it's a great reason. It's a great way of me maintaining that. We've got other owners who still keep their boats in the UK, but they want a taste of yachting in the Med, and they look at this versus charter and go, yeah, that's really good value. And then, of course, there's people who have been thinking about boating, and for some, when they first come into it, it can be a little bit daunting before you get to understand everything, and they use it as a very enjoyable way of learning what they want from a boat and what they'll go on to buy once the 4 years is over. Right. So it's a good mix of owners.
Yes, brilliant. Well, listen, thank you very much. Thanks for the the loan of the boat, if you like, for the tour. That was great.
Yeah.
But importantly, thanks very much for explaining how this works. I've kind of seen and heard of these schemes, but I didn't really understand the mechanics of it, and I can see just how appealing it would be.
Seems to be, yeah. So we hope to have many more.
Fantastic. Thanks again, Josh.
My pleasure.
So there you go, the Princess F70, the first of the proper four cabin princesses, and you can see why it's a popular choice. Well, thanks very much for joining me on this walkthrough. Hope you've enjoyed it. Please comment, please share, please like, please subscribe, that'd be fantastic. But most importantly, please come back and watch more of these. That's why we do it. Thanks very much for joining us, and from all of us here at the Marine Channel, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.